4-9, comparing and ordering rational numbers. A rational number is a number that can be expressed as a fraction. Fractions, terminating and repeating decimals, percents, and integers are all rational numbers. I'm sure you've probably seen a Venn diagram before that starts out with whole numbers in the beginning. So whole numbers such as 2, 1, 6, 11, and then outside of that is integers, which include whole numbers. So the integers include whole numbers, but integers also include negatives. So -3, -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth are integers. And then on the outside, you have your rational numbers. And these include decimals, repeating decimals, fractions, percents, also include integers, and it also includes whole numbers. Let's look at comparing rational numbers. We have -1 and 5/6 and -1 and 1/6. So you first want to create your number line, and you know that this number is between -2 and -1. It's somewhere between those two numbers. So you want to start with, maybe your -2, which is farthest on the left, and you want to divide your number line in 1/6 increments. So if this is -2, then this would be -1 and 5/6, -1 and 4/6, -1 and 3/6, -1, 2/6, -1, 1/6, and -1. So now you just can plot your points. So you can show that -1 and 5/6 is right here, and -1 and 1/6 is right there. Now if your -1 is here, then your 0 is over here somewhere. So that would mean that the number farthest from 0 is the smallest. The number closest to 0 on the negative side, so when we're over here, the number closest to 0 is the largest. The number farthest away is the smallest. So we would say that -1 and 5/6 is less than -1 and 1/6. Pause the video to compare the rational numbers below. So if we draw our number line, again, we know that these two numbers fall between -5 and -6. So let's have -6 here. So then we have our -5 and 8/9, because -5 and 9/9 would be 6. So -5 and 8/9, -5 7/9, -5 6/9, 5/9, 4/9, 3/9, 2/9, 1/9, -5. So now we plot our 2 points that we have. We have -5 and 5/9, and then we have -5 and 1/9. Again, the number that's closest to 0 is your larger number, so you would draw your larger than sign to represent that -5 and 1/9 is larger than -5 and 5/9. We can also use least common denominator to compare fractions. The common denominator is a common multiple of the denominators of 2 or more fractions. Least common denominator is also abbreviated as LCD. So if we look at these two examples, 7/12 and 8/18, we want to get a common denominator. So what is something that both of these numbers can have in common? Well, we can actually change both of these numbers to 36. To get 12 into 36, we multiplied by 3. So whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So my fraction becomes 21/36. To turn 18 into 36, we multiplied by 2. So my new fraction becomes 16/36. So if I have 21/36 and 16/36, now you just need to compare the numerators because the denominators are already the same. So that would mean that 21 is greater than 16. Pause the video to compare the fractions using LCD. So for the first example, we have 1/5 and 7/10. Sometimes you do not have to change both denominators. You can sometimes just change one and get it to what the other one is. So in this case, we can change this 5 to 10, which means we can change the numerator to 2. So you can see that 7 is greater than 2. The next example is 9/16 and 7/10. Sometimes when we have fractions, we also cannot just find a multiple between them because they may not have anything in common. But you can very easily just multiply them by each other. So if we multiply this side by 10, we have 160 in the bottom and 90 in the top. If we multiply this side by 16, we have 160 in the bottom and we have 112 at the top. So I'm going to rewrite my fractions. We have -90 over 160 compared to -112 over 160. So now you can just look at your numerators, -90 and -112. Again, the further away from 0 a negative number is, the smaller it is. So we would be able to say that -90 is greater than -112. You can also compare fractions by writing them as decimals. So we have 4/5 and 3/8. If we turn 4/5 into a decimal, we get 0.8. If we turn 3/8 into a decimal, we get 0.375. So now you just look at your numbers. You have the decimal point, and then you compare the numbers after the decimal point. Whichever one is greater would represent that that fraction is greater than the other. You always want to make sure that you go back and write your answer in the original form. So 4/5 is greater than 3/8. Pause the video to complete the lesson review. Make sure you show me this lesson review for verification of watching this video.